it's been absolutely ages since I've done a video, and thank you very much for being patient and waiting for me. So issue number 15, which I'm reviewing today, I was supposed to collect from my newsagents just shy of 2 weeks ago. Hachette had let them down and obviously not delivered. So I had to source this on eBay for some pretty scalpy prices. But anyway, we are here. Now, before we get right into this, I just want to give you a little channel update of some things that I'm thinking of doing for the channel, because I've been looking at what my subscribers are watching, what they're interested in, and I've decided that I think I'm going to split Mortal Realms up to a couple of videos. So after I've done issue 15 and 16, which I'm hoping to receive tomorrow, I shall start to split my Mortal Realms videos into a few different things. So number one will be the weekly review, a look at what we receive in the plastic and going through the magazine. I'm toying with the idea of doing a separate assembly guide. I'm in the process at the moment of creating a catch-up painting video, which should be ready in a couple of weeks. So by issue maybe 17, I should have all of that ready. So it'll be a big catch-up paint guide, and then that will become a weekly video from there on to paint any new materials received and that kind of thing. And then I'm going to start doing the playthroughs on separate videos as well. And the reason for that is that at the moment, when I look at the sort of the times that these videos go out, or sorry, at least the times that people are actually watching them for, it's quite a small portion of people actually stay on for the playthrough part at the end of the video. And I'm assuming, well, I know that because I've had a few messages and I look at the comments and that kind of thing, that some people do just go straight to the end just to see the playthrough bit. So I'm going to split those out so we can cover things in more detail. I like to try and keep the videos to sort of between 10 and 15 minutes if I can. Obviously the playthrough ones now are stretching that right out. So I just want to make sure that I'm making the content more accessible for the people to see exactly what they want to see. And one other video that we will be looking at is our second delivery of free material for Mortal Realms. So that includes some Mortal Realms exclusive prints that we've received, which we'll be taking you through, and taking you through the binder, which is immeasurably better than the one that we received for 40k Conquest, because it's got much more inserts inside it. But tune in for that. I'll have a video on that out in the next day or two as well. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, there's also been some huge news this week for 40k. So in the next couple of days, I've got a new series started, and it will probably only run for about 4 or 5 videos, but it's starting with what does 40k 9th edition mean for 40k Conquest, which is the series which finished in the UK around about 6 to 8 weeks ago, but it's currently running rapidly through Europe and some other parts of the world. And it's interesting that 9th edition is coming relatively soon, the next couple of months, and Conquest with 8th edition rules will still be being delivered around the world. The next video in that series will probably be what does 40k 9th edition mean for Kill Team, and then there'll be another few after that. And indeed, if anyone's got any thoughts, opinions, or things they'd like me to flesh out in those videos, drop it down in the comments and I will certainly take a look at it. But anyway, back to issue 15. So we've got 2 lovely sprues here today, which I will show you. There's a small amount of assembly for these, which I'll show you in just a minute, because I've already got this set and have some of it assembled and primed. But let's for now just go through the magazine. So in this issue, your Sigmarite Mausoleum is completed in this issue. Though this issue contains a paint guide to get the kit ready for battle, you will need to use the build guide that came in issue 11 to construct the models first. When you're done, your Shyish battlefield will be complete. You'll put your terrain to good use in a new playthrough where we introduce some rules for shooting units and add a maximum range to their weapons. Happy hobbying. Thank you, Ian. Okay, so what have we got? Storm hosts. We'll continue to look at those. We'll be looking at history number 5, the Realm Gate Wars. We'll be looking at Flesh Eater Courts. Flesh Eater Courts we're going to be receiving as part of the premium subscription, which I'll be receiving hopefully in the next month or so. We'll be reading about battles number 9, the Court of the Cannibal King. Then we'll be looking at our paint guide for our Sigmarite Mausoleum, and then we'll look at our playthrough for issue 15, Charge of the Harrow. Okay, Storm Hosts, Children of the Storm. There have been many occasions when the various Storm Hosts have fought alongside one another, particularly during the Realmgate Wars. It was common to see Stormcast Eternals armoured in the various colours of different Storm Hosts fighting shoulder to shoulder. While some rivalries and grudges have been established between some of the Storm Hosts or Chambers, all serve Sigmar, and differences are cast aside in terms of war. So on this image we've got here the Lightning Hawks, Celestial Warbringers, the Crimson Seraphs, looks like West Ham, Anvils of the Heldenhammer, or Aston Villa, and Anvils of the Heldenhammer. And they all look pretty cool. Okay. And then more information here about Anvils of the Heldenhammer, it looks like. None shall breach our walls, for they are imbued with the power of Azir. Should the wretched or the unholy pass through these gates, they shall be consumed by the fires of justice. That was Lord Castellant's Skygazer. Okay, next we're over to history number 5, the Realmgate Wars. Sigmar's plan to scour the forces of chaos from the mortal realms relied upon controlling realm gates, the portals between realms. His first act of war was to send his Stormcast Eternals to seize them. The Stormcast Eternals came crashing down to the mortal realms on searing bolts of lightning. Each host of armoured warriors had its own objective, and across the 8 realms, battles raged. The key to winning the war for mortal realms was controlling the realm gates. These magical portals allowed armies and supplies to move between realms. If the forces of Azir could capture these vital structures, it would be much easier for them to reinforce each other and drive back the followers of the Dark Gods. And then a little bit about kind of topography, where things are. A mention of the All Points. The All Points hold a gate to every one of the mortal realms. Long ago, Archaon the Ever-Chosen conquered this realm and built a great citadel, the Varanspire, from which he rules. Sigmar, desperate for revenge against the Ever-Chosen, sought to have his Stormcast Eternals invade the All Points, capture the gates, and destroy his great enemy once and for all. I love Archaon. I think he's really cool. Okay, now we get our first taste of the flesh-eater courts. Crazed flesh-eating cannibals, the ghouls of the flesh-eater courts are led by powerful vampires whose abhorrent curse allows them to control their hungry minions. Then it tells you what the abhorrent curse is here. The flesh-eater courts are cursed with an insanity that makes them think they are noble warriors. It was originally a punishment Nagash inflicted on one of his servants, but it has since spread. There are many foul creatures that make up the armies of the flesh-eater courts. When they go to war, they descend upon their enemies in a frenzy, tearing away chunks of flesh and feasting on the fallen. Winged terrors wheel through the skies above the battlefield, swooping down to grasp unsuspecting victims in their cruel talons. Okay, so we've got more information here, and there's 2 types we'll have a look at. The Mordents. Mordents are the lowest ranking members of the flesh-eater courts. They form up in packs to better hunt their victims. They are more savage monsters than true soldiers, but they are all utterly devoted to their abhorrent master. Every Mordant hopes to impress their leader and climb the ranks within their gruesome courts. And then the courtiers. Mordants who impress their noble masters may find themselves invited to join the upper ranks of the abhorrent courts. They have been granted the honour of feasting upon their master's blood, and their power has grown as a result. Mordants hold their courtiers in great regard, and swarm and scurry around their feet in deranged adoration. The role each courtier takes is carefully selected by the abhorrents. Some become crypt infernals, given the power of flight to swoop down upon their enemies. Others become crypt ghasts and lead mobs of ghouls into battle. Whatever the task and role they are given, the courtiers relish it. It is a chance to prove their loyalty and talents to their master and ascend further and further in the court's ranks. Okay, and then we have got Battles number 9, the Court of the Cannibal King. The anvils of Heldenhammer strike at the heart of the flesh-eater court, hoping to destroy the creatures once and for all. The press of slavering ghouls made movement almost impossible. The creatures grasped and clawed at their Stormcast eternal foes, dragging a few down with sheer weight of numbers. Frustrated howls came from the pallid creatures as the few armoured warriors they did manage to slay began to disappear to Azir before the ghouls could eat their fill of flesh, depriving the ghouls of a well-earned meal. The anvils of Heldenhammer continued to wade forward, hammers and swords smashing skulls and spilling a river of blood. From above, the terrifying howls and sonic screams of the winged beasts filled the night sky as they duelled with the winged knights Azeros. In the midst of the battle, Lord Celestin Orpharius Dreamhaunter bellowed his command, urging his retributors forward into the chaotic heart of the conflict. Okay, and then we got a little bit more about the anvils and retributors in general. Okay, so then we've got how to paint the Sigmarite Mausoleum, and I'll pause there to give you a quick look at what we've received this issue. Now, this has already been primed with it's just Halford's grey spray, and what I'll do is I'll show you the parts and where they link up to stuff that we already received. So there you go, that's the first kind of gateway through to the Sigmarite Mausoleum. There's a few gravestones there as well, which are very cool. We have received this statue, and it's got a platform which I currently haven't glued to it because I'm going to magnetize it because my storage solution requires it really. I don't want to take up too much space with this, but that is how that looks, which is really awesome. We've got a corner piece of wall there. Nice. We've got, obviously we've got the set of gates that we received in a previous issue. Now what I'm doing with these is I've got some 2mm wide or 3mm wide magnets. I'm going to clip a little bit off of there so I can magnetize these, so I can choose to have them kind of open or closed. So there's that. We've got another few pieces. There's a piece of fence there, which is very similar to what we've already had. Another few pieces of wall with a gate there. And I may even clip that gate out and magnetize that as well. Not sure yet. We'll see how much hard work it's going to be. It's not a very large opening. Okay. More fence pieces, very cool. And then what we've got, other than that, is 3 more platforms. What they are for is they go with our buildings that we already received. Now, these haven't been glued because I want to paint them first, but you get the gist. First one, this is the second one, the smaller one. I really like this this Halford primer. It gives a real nice thin coat. See if you can see that a bit better. It does give a nice thin coat. Highly recommend it. And then this final one, which is cool. Now it also has a little lid for that sarcophagus or coffin there, which I'll probably glue half on after everything inside is painted. So that is that. And then obviously we've got the paint guide for our Mausoleum. Now we've already seen almost all of this, I believe. So we undercoat. Let's work this out. So for these ones, we're undercoating mainly in Abaddon Black, except for a few parts in Mechanica Standard Grey. Now I have, and well, people who've seen my videos before know what I feel about painting directly onto plastic. I just don't think it's a good idea. So as mine is primed, things like Abaddon Black, where it tells you, this will probably tell us to use 3 coats. It says apply 2 coats for an even finish, which is probably about right. But just by priming it, it just helps that paint to adhere to to your models even better. Okay, so Abaddon Black to start. A little bit of Mechanica Standard Grey on the spire. A dry brush of Cantor Blue. More dry brushing of Corax White. I have to say, Corax White dry brushed onto Abaddon Black is a really, really cool look. And that is how our set will look when it's completed. Kind of, as far as painting it up to date. I have to say, it does look really, really cool. Excellent. Okay. Right. Before we get on to next week's content, or not next week, we're still running a 2-week gap. So before we get onto that, let's have a look at our playthrough. Charge of the Harrow. The Nighthaunt continues to arrive on the field of battle in droves. More chain rafts emerge from the hills and barrows, led by ghastly dreadblade harrows, mounted upon ghostly steeds. Thankfully, the Celestial Ballista has been wheeled into place and is ready to fire. Okay, so what have we got then? So, again, we are on the full size of the mat. And I wonder at what stage we will get a new mat. I think we're probably going to be looking at about issue 18 or 19. If Warhammer 40k Conquest is anything to go by, it will be in just a few issues' time. Okay. So we've set that up. This is using all of our terrain as well, which is good. I find it interesting that in terms of the setup, I think it would be a really cool touch if they could just use the models for the setup here, painted up until kind of this level, if you know what I mean. This is all just the grey plastic and the blue, and obviously the Retributor gold of the Stormcast. I think it would be a nice touch to have them painted up until where they are, but I understand, you know, these things are very difficult to put together, but it would have been nice anyway. So what have we got? We have got Castigators, and again, we've got all of their stats now. We've got the Dreadblade Harrows. We've got the Celestial Ballista, now with Chained Lightning. Each Celestial Stormbolt hit scores. Each Celestial Stormbolt hit scores D6 hits. Anyway, and then we've got the Chain Rasp Horde. Cool. And then this is pretty much as you would expect. We've had all of these rules before. So we've got Nighthaunt going first. It's got some instructions there as well. Taking cover behind buildings. Interesting. So like I say, I'll be doing this playthrough in a separate video, as I will be with issue 14's playthrough. So that'll be coming up in the next few days as well. That they're pushed back a little bit until I get up to date with the paint guide, because I want to continue doing the playthroughs with painted miniatures at all times if I can. But yeah, this looks very, very good. Right, okay, so what have we got coming up? Next issue, which I should hopefully, if my newsagents received it, we'll be looking at Stormcast reinforcements. So that's a further 3 Sequitors and 2 Castigators, and then one of our Sequitors is going to have a Great Mace as well, which is very good. And then following on after that, what I'm really looking forward to is the Dreadscythe Harridans. The Dreadscythe Harridans. So I'm very, very much looking forward to those next 2 issues. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. And like I say, I want your feedback, if you don't mind, on what I'm intending to do with the channel. Kind of draw Mortal Realms out over 3 or 4 videos a week, just so as subscribers can get to the bits that they want to get to a bit quicker. It also helps me to flow through the reviews in a more. It's actually easier for me to do it this way, because things like the playthroughs, they take a lot of rule checking, and there's a lot of edits and that kind of thing in there, and it really delays the timing for me getting these issues out. So let me know what you think about that, guys. Anyway, your feedback will be really appreciated, and thank you very much to a couple of subscribers who reached out to me via email this week. Thank you for the kind words. Really very, very nice of you. And I will continue to do all this content for as long as you guys are watching. So thank you very much, guys, and I will see you later.